Hello student of class 12. Again we are here with a new video, and in this video we are going to cover about the chapter electric charges and field. One video I had given before this video, and in that video we discussed so many terms. So again we are going to revise the few terms here in this video, and the first term is electrostatics. What is the meaning of electrostatics? The static means which is in rest. So electrostatic is a branch of physics in which we study about electricity in which the electric charges are static, that is they are not moving. Means in electrostatic we study about the charges which are at rest, means they are not moving. The second term is electrification. What is electrification? The carrying the charges is called electrification. Means if the body is getting charged, so we can say that the body is electrified, or the process or the phenomena is known as electrification. So the carrying of charges is called electrification. The third is charge cannot exist without material carrying it. Means without material we cannot store charge. Means if the body has charge, it means the body is of some material. It is solid, means the charges cannot exist without material carrying it. Without material we cannot assume the charge. Charges can be developed by friction. This is a common phenomenon. If you rub the two bodies with each other, then the bodies have some charges. Next is electrification is due to friction, is called frictional electricity. If the charges are developed on the body by friction, by rubbing the two bodies, then the electricity is known as frictional electricity. So we can say electrification due to friction is called a frictional electricity. Benjamin Franklin made the nomenclature of charges positive and negative. Means earlier the charges are known and the sign is not known as positive and negative, but Benjamin Franklin made the nomenclature of this type, that is the charges can be positive and negative, and it helps in the mathematical calculation. Let us start. What is electrostatic series? I am writing here some material. The first is glass. The second is flannel. The third is wool. And the fourth is silk. Fifth, hard metal. Sixth, hard rubber. Seventh is sealing wax. Sealing wax is the wax which we use to seal any material. As we have seen, which is very confidential, we use some seal on that. That is called sealing wax. The eighth is resin. And the ninth is sulfur. This is the electrostatic series. Now what this series help us? This series will help us to find that when we rub the two bodies with each other. Suppose I rub flannel and glass with each other. Now in the series glass is coming up first and then flannel is coming on the second number. Or we are suppose that I rub silk with hard metal, or I rub silk with hard rubber. So which is at the top, or which is coming at the first, so that material will gain positive charge. Means if you rub two bodies, if two substance are rubbed, then the first in the series will get positively charged, and the second first will get positive charge, and the second means the lower number will get negative charge. Now you have to learn this series. You learn this series, the sequence: glass, flannel, wool, silk, hard metal, hard rubber, sealing wax, resin and sulfur. And if the question is, okay, what happened when the wool is rubbed with glass? So wool and glass, if you are rubbing, so glass is coming at the first and wool is coming at the second, or we can say this is former, this is later. The former will get positive charge and the later will get negative charge. So wool will get negative charge and glass will get positive charge. If glass is rubbed with silk, the silk will get negative charge and glass will get positive charge. And if silk is rubbed with the sulfur, so silk will get positive charge and sulfur will get negative charge. This is the usefulness of this electrostatic series, and so many questions in objective and in the competition also it is asked, and this series will help you to understand and to know better that which material will be positively and negative charge. Now the next is charging by induction. What is charging by induction? So charging by induction means it is the process, or in this process the bodies are charged without touching them. We cannot touch the two bodies. If we are touching the two bodies and we are charging, that is called charging by conduction. But here we are going to understand what is charging by induction, or how the charging by induction can be done. So I had made one diagram for you all. Now the next is basic property of charges. What are the basic property of charges? What are the basic property of charges? Basic property of electric charges, the number one is additivity. Additivity of charges. Additivity of charges means that we can add the charge by simple rule of algebra. Means if the body contains plus 4 and at the same time it contains minus 2, then we can add it algebraically, means using sign. So 4 plus minus minus means 4 minus 2, that is 2 plus, means the body is charged by plus 2. So simply the meaning of this property is that we can add the charges. Suppose the body have plus 5 and minus 5, means this body is neutral or carries zero charge. So this is the meaning of the property of additivity of charges. This is a very important property. First property is additivity of charges. Now the second property is quantization of electric charge. Quantization of electric charge. This is the second property, and what the property mean? According to the quantization of electric charge, electric charge is not continuous quantity. Means it is not a continuous quantity, but it is an integral multiple of minimum charge, and that minimum charge is denoted by small e. And single small e is known as quanta. One quanta means if you break the charge into pieces, then you will get the small charge that cannot be divided further, and that is the smallest part, or we can say elementary charge, and it is denoted by simple small e. And what is the reason behind the quantization? The reason behind the quantization is the minimum charge exists on an electron, and this is a very small charge, and we cannot divide further this charge, and the material which is transferred during electrification is an electron, and it is integral number. So the charge transferred has to be integral multiple of e. We cannot say that the charges are transferred in 0.5 e or 3.5 e. Always they will be transferred in e, 2e, 3e, 4e, not between 2 and 3, that is 2.5 e. It will not be transferred. This is known as quantization of charge. Means the simple meaning of this property that the smallest charge is e, and it is equal to electron charge, that is 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 coulomb. This is the unit of charge, means SI unit of charge is coulomb, and the smaller unit of that is called CGS unit of charge is the, what is CGS unit of charge? The CGS unit of charge is stat coulomb. Stat coulomb. This is the CGS unit of charge, stat coulomb. So this is the second property. First property is additivity of charges. Second property is quantization of electric charge, and the third property is conservation of charges. Conservation of charges. So what is the meaning of conservation of charges? Conservation of charges, like we had learned earlier also about conservation of energy. Like conservation of energy and momentum, electric charges also follow the rules of conservation. The first, isolated or individual electric charge can neither be created nor destroyed, and it can only be transferred. The second, charges in pair can be created or destroyed. Means charges in pair can be created or destroyed. I can write here, charges in pair can be created or destroyed. But individual charges cannot be neither be created nor destroyed. It can only be transferred, but the charges in pair can be created or destroyed. Suppose I am taking an example. At nuclear level of decay of uranium-238, at the decay of uranium-238, it is a radioactive decay. Atomic number of uranium is 238. Atomic mass of uranium is 238. Atomic number of uranium is 92. So uranium 238, 92. When it is decay, it converted into thorium of mass number 234 and of helium 2He4. It's a radioactive decay, and the mass number is thorium is 90. So here, if you see in this example, atomic number of radioactive material is 92, means it has 92 proton, and the charge is now 92e. 92e is the charge. Now thorium, the atomic number of thorium is 90, means the charge of thorium is 90e. And this is alpha particle. This is alpha particle having charge of 2e. So therefore, charges before decay are 92, and after decay they are 90 plus 2, means the charges are divided. 90 and 2 means before and after they are same. So we can say that this is the conservation of charge. Now let us take another example of pair production. Pair production. Pair production. Pair production is converse of annihilation. Annihilation of charges. What is annihilation? I will tell you. But before that, what is pair production? Suppose there is a gamma, and this is a gamma ray. When a gamma ray transform into after decay, gamma convert into one electron and one positron. So this is a pair. This is pair production. And what is annihilation? It is also called destruction in pair. In a nuclear process of an electron minus E and its antiparticle plus E, they undergo annihilation process in which they transform into a gamma ray. Means if you add this is electron and this is positron, that is antiparticle, it will be converted into two gamma rays. Two gamma rays of high energy. This is converse of pair production. Gamma break into one electron and one positron, and here if you see that positron and antiparticle electron, they combine and they will give two gamma rays. This is the process of annihilation and this is the process of pair production. Clear? So charges in pair can be created or destroyed, but isolated electric charge can neither be created nor destroyed. It can only be transferred. So this is the example, this is the meaning of what is the property called conservation of charge. Now the next is force between two charges. Suppose this is a positive and this is also a positive charge, and these two charges are similar in nature, means both are positively charged, so they will repel. They will repel means there is a force of repulsion. This is charge Q2 and this is charge Q1, and both are positive charge kept at a distance of r, at r distance. So this will be repelled by force F and this also will be repelled by force F, but in opposite direction, so we put minus sign here. Means in magnitude both the forces are equal. Now if the charges are opposite, suppose this is positive, this is negative, and they are kept at a distance of r, now they will attract. So this is plus F and this is opposite to the force of, so it will be minus F, but the magnitude of forces are equal. Now what is the conclusion? Two charged particles separated by distance r repel each other or they attract each other. If they both are positive, there is a force of repulsion. If they both are negative, there is also force of repulsion. And if they are opposite in nature, there is a force of attraction. So they attract each other if their charges are of opposite sign. So in all these cases, means in the two cases or in three cases or three situations, the force acting on one particle is equal in magnitude to the force of acting on the other particle, but has opposite direction. Both the forces are equal, but they have opposite direction. And for opposite sign, opposite direction, we are using negative sign, but the value of forces is equal. This is very important. Okay, the forces in magnitude are equal, but in direction they are opposite, whether they are repulsion or whether they are attraction. Now how can we find the magnitude of these forces? What is the value of this force of attraction? What is the value of this force of repulsion? So this is the law given by Coulomb, that how can we find the magnitude of the forces of the repulsion or force of attraction between two stationary or static charges. So according to the Coulomb, the force of attraction or repulsion between two charges is directly proportional to the product of charges, and this is the first rule. And the second, the force of repulsion or attraction between two charges is inversely proportional to the square of distance between them. This is the second rule. The two laws of Coulomb are, if the force we have to find between the two charged body, whether they are positively, whether they are negatively, or whether they are opposite. So force of attraction or repulsion is proportional to the product of charges, and force of attraction or repulsion is inversely proportional to the square of distance between the two charges. So if you combine these two laws, so we will get F is proportional to Q1 Q2 by R square, or F is equal to K. The K we are using here as a constant, Q1 Q2 by R square. Now what is the value of K? K is equal to 1 upon 4 by epsilon naught. So we can write, this is epsilon naught. Epsilon naught. So F is equal to 1 upon 4 by epsilon naught Q1 Q2 upon R square. This is the magnitude of force between two charges, whether they are opposite or whether they are same in nature. Means we can find the force of attraction or force of repulsion with the help of this relation. And since it is a force between two charges, the unit will be in Newton. The unit of this force is Newton. Now the value of K, depend on system of units. The value of K depends on system of unit and on medium between two charges. On these two factors, the value of K depend. If the medium between two charges change, then value of K is also change. So experimentally it was found that if two charges of 1 coulomb each are placed at a distance of 1 meter in air or vacuum, then they attract each other or repel each other with a force of 9 into 10 to the power 9 Newton. So this was experimentally find that if the two charges of 1 coulomb are placed at a distance of 1 meter in air or vacuum, then they attract each other or repel each other with the force of 9 into 10 to the power 9 Newton. So according to this experiment, the value of K is equal to 9 into 10 to the power 9 Newton meter square per coulomb square. This is the value of K, or we can say 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught is equal to 9 into 10 to the power 9 Newton meter square per coulomb square. What is the meaning of epsilon naught? What is epsilon naught? It is the permittivity. Permittivity of free space or vacuum. And its value is, the value of epsilon naught is 8.85 into 10 to the power minus 12 coulomb square per Newton meter square. This is the value of epsilon naught. .85 10 power minus 12 coulomb square per Newton meter square. This is the value of epsilon naught. It is called permittivity of free space. Now in CGS system, the unit of charge is ab coulomb. Or EMU. In CGS electromagnetic, ELECTRO, electromagnetic system. In CGS electromagnetic system, the unit of charge is Av Coulomb. This is the question is asked once in competitive exam. Av Coulomb or EMU. What is 1 Coulomb? 1 Coulomb is equal to 3 into 10 to the power 9 stat coulomb. Stat coulomb. And 1 EMU is equal to 3 into 10 to the power 10 ESU. ESU means electrostatic unit. Electrostatic unit ESU, and it is electromagnetic unit EMU. In electromagnetic unit system, the unit of charge is Av Coulomb, and this is electrostatic unit. 1 EMU is equal to 3 into 10 power 10 ESU. So till here we are ending this video. Now what we had learned in this video about Coulomb's law, about the unit of charges in CGS and SI system, what is electrification, what is electrostatic series, all these things you have to learn from your NCERT book, from this video also. What is the way how can we charge the body by induction. See examples given in NCERT also, and there are so many questions in the chapter end also you have to solve. And if you have any problem in this video, you can call me or message me in the group. Till then, thank you. Have a nice day.